Hello, welcome back to a very special episode of the Waffle Press TV Hangouts because that's it for our Hannibal discussions.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for season 3 and possibly ever. Or we got some stuff. Emily and I have been talking, but we'll talk about it as the show progresses. Emily, my co-host, is here with me to also be sad about Hannibal ending.
Yes. I don't know why I'm laughing. I don't know why I'm laughing. This is I just laugh because Hannibal fills me with too many emotions for for anything but laughter to happen
We're just
because I
hysterical. That's it. It's not joyful laughter. It's like,
no.
help
Hannibal.
me. Yeah, that's literally it. And some Fear the Walking Dead right off the top. Let's just
Yes.
go right on into that.
Sure.
I did not watch Fear the Walking Dead last week. I caught up with both episodes before this hangout, and I am a fan of the show. It's
Okay.
not it's not a it's not appointment TV for me, but I'm interested to see where things go, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
that there's enough of a structure surround. Or I there's like bare bone structure around it, and it's very slow burn. But I don't think this series has gotten out of control. I don't feel like it's aimless. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see where it goes. I like enough of the acting. I think some of the characters make questionable decisions, like some lesser versions of The Walking Dead have, and that's starting to get to me by the second episode. But overall, I thought the pilot was stronger. The second
Mm-hmm.
episode felt like it was getting a little bit better, and then took like 2 steps back for every better thing it did in terms of
Mm-hmm.
character and such. I like the direction. I feel the like the actual physical direction and cinematography of the episodes is more in line with the better versions of The Walking Dead through those seasons as well. Not like the stale camera movements that just kind of like point A, point B, point C. It feels more alive. Or at least the pilot I felt was very engaging. It was engaging
Yeah.
for a TV pilot, and I like this. Obviously, wasn't a nod to Hannibal, or maybe it was. I don't know, but I want every horror genre pilot TV show to have someone utter the words "they're eating them." Like that's what I want in life because that's been happening a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
our beloved Hannibal. But enough
Yes.
on that. Fear the Walking Dead. I'm enjoying it. I hope it continues to. It's the first season, so there's going to be some kinks. You don't always get like a first season like Lost or the first season of The Walking Dead. It's
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't happen that often. All right. So I'm I'm into it, and I will definitely be continuing to watch it for these TV hangouts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I liked the newest episode actually. I personally felt like it might have just been me because it seems like a lot of people disagreed, but I kind of felt like the pilot dragged a little bit more than I was thinking. And maybe it's just, and I know that I have been getting ahead of myself with the show, which I think is something that kind of everybody runs into at some point if you're coming off the Walking Dead train to Fear the Walking Dead. Um, I definitely am still I'm a big fan of Madison, and I like her kind of as a leading lady. I mean, she's got a very solid head on her shoulders for what it's worth.
Oh
Like
yeah,
she has been dealing with this business like a champ. I mean, arguably she's seen a lot more than most people that we have encountered have. Like in ends up spoiler alert for the second episode, of course, but having to bash in the skull of the principal, she figures that out pretty dang quick that you gotta go for the head. So yeah, it's like there were some good decisions in terms of quick thinking um and reacting to what's in front of you, and sort of what happens with Madison is she goes like extreme mother bear protective, just pretty much putting the house on lockdown. Originally the plan is that she's going to take off with Travis and they're just going to get out of here because who knows what the crap is going on, but it's arguably pretty bad. And then everybody gets split up and stuck and it's kind of frustrating, but I mean, I think it'll be a source of interesting tension as things progress. I mean, something about the latest episode that kind of shook me was just how like almost kind of relevant it was trying to be in terms of how people were perceiving the violence against the undead, like people not knowing what's going on yet, just the varying degrees of not knowing whether it's ignorant bliss or misinterpretation or just a different interpretation entirely. um and so there's kind of this like police violence tie-in with, the cops know more than they're letting on, as is evidenced by the guy who's filling up the back of his cop car with water.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a little bit ominous. It's like, okay, so here you are supposed to be protecting the people, but clearly you're loading up for, to hold down your own fort. Okay. And then people are getting shot on the streets and there's rioting and all this crazy stuff. And yet it almost, the way that this show goes about it, it doesn't feel that far off. I mean, it's not like Rick Grimes waking up weeks down the line. It's sort of weird to see things as it's happening. Too many times I can say that word. Yeah, but I like it too. I think it's pretty engaging. Definitely got that slow burn feel, but I think that I'm up for it, and I think it's kind of necessary too for us to sort of feel like, what might it be like coming from the outside in, instead of, Rick Grimes in this little cocoon, like a beautiful wounded butterfly emerges into the horrific world of terror. It's more like seeing the insanity as it goes down, and then who rises up and how it's all going to go down. Yeah, I think there's some pretty decent characters so far, some kinds of silly decisions and just things that have made us roll our eyes in the past, like, come on, just leave it be, let it go, please. But it makes enough sense to where it doesn't piss me off as much as certain things have pissed me off in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Also kind of funny having the, like, that Tobias kid in the school who's just like, look, I know how this goes down. Trust me. I've watched The Walking Dead. Like,
Yeah,
he seems
much.
like that guy. But I like him. I feel like we might see him further down the line and he'll be all like set up and maybe go cross country and join the crew in Alexandria. But,
I was actually thinking that too.
yeah, because he is just like, bam, survival from the get-go. I mean, he's got his knife before anybody even knows what's going on, and ultimately gets that back. So that's cool. But yeah, so I think pretty good start. Definitely hard to compare to Hannibal at this point, because it's like,
yeah, that's not even fair.
It's just a little fawn getting up on its tumbly legs, but we've been walking with the stag of darkness for 3 years now. So that's kind of tough.
Yeah, let's just transition right into it. I guess really quick wrap up on Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, Cliff Curtis is good.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia Devnam Carey from The 100. I really like her. I don't think she has much to work with right now, but I think she's still good. Yeah. And Kim Dickens owns this show for sure. Yeah. Kim Dickens and Cliff Curtis, when I heard they were announced in the cast as the leads, I was like, okay, now I have to watch this show, even though the Fear the Walking Dead is a whatever title. It's a fine title. Nothing. I have no strong feelings about it one way or the other. But yeah, I think it's worth checking out. So just reiteration of last week. Yes, watch Fear the Walking Dead. Talk to us about it. And now we get into our postmortem for the most satisfying, or possibly the most satisfying, if it's a series finale, one of the most satisfying series finales. And definitely one of the most satisfying season finales.
Yes.
Hannibal season 3 came to a close. That's why I'm actually wearing my dark red shirt, because there was a whole lot of blood and people were becoming things and red dragon imagery and just glorious. It was glorious. The season finale of Hannibal was, for lack of better words, fucking spectacular. It might have been a perfect season finale. I was shaken to my core. I was on the edge of my seat. Like, about halfway through, they just toss away book material. They just, right out the window, they make up their own stuff as they go along, and that is classic Hannibal. It looked like it was going to be a traditional showdown. The opening scene is the finale of the book. Jesus, it's so good. Uh, uh, you gotta take over from here because I'm still trying to. I thought I could do this, but it's too much.
Mm.
Yeah,
Man, I cheated. I cheated on Saturday. Somebody sent me the episode early and have my birthday dinner that night, and I was just like, well, you know what? It's my birthday. I can cry if I want to. So I'm going to sit in my room, turn off all the lights, and watch the finale all by my lonesome because
and happy birthday,
thank you.
belated.
Yes, I appreciate it. But it was, man, I have never experienced something so transcendent in all my days. Just I was so overwhelmed that the episode itself was actually happening, and just the way that it was everything that I wanted, truly. Like I raved about it for a good half an hour in my finale review on my channel. And I will rave about it to the end of my days, because really all that I wanted from this finale was for it to honor its core story and the fabric of what the show has become. And what it is it's a love story. It's a love story between two men, between Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham. And that's precisely what, you know, all the facades fall away. Everything that we thought that this might have been, could have been, it's just the walls come tumbling down, and here we are with, finally Hannibal gets what he's always wanted Will to have, and Will, in kind of this fatal moment, realizes that it's exactly what he's wanted too. And then cue the falling into the ocean forever, or well, maybe not forever,
I hope
but
not forever.
I have read, I tell you what, I've read several interviews with Brian Fuller, and it just makes my heart sing, because people keep asking, like, what does it mean? Like, does this actually mean that they're gone? And he's just like, well, if there's any way for us to continue this story, then no. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, because I think people also forget that this wasn't designed as it. Like every season finale, it's partially designed to work as a series finale, but
Yes.
mostly it is a season finale. This one just happens to wrap up more than most season finales
Yes.
in a nice little bow and a very ominous, a literal cliffhanger, and then a very ominous post-credit scene. But let's talk about the rest of the episode first, really quick, because
yeah.
with the last scene alone, there's so much to talk about. The way they use Francis Dollarhide in this show is so great. He is one of the best TV villains now. Hannibal has constructed many macabre, disgusting entities, but I think Francis Dollarhide, he gets the most screen time besides Hannibal Lecter, of course, but he is he's a very special kind of monster from another serial killer TV friend of ours. And I don't want to understate. Shoot, I forgot his name. Richard Armitage.
Yeah.
Richard Armitage's performance as Francis Dollarhide, the Red Dragon, Tooth Fairy, whatever have you. He is so in line with everything the show should and was. It is so magnificent. I know this show will not get nominated for Emmys ever because it just hasn't. But he should have been up for, or if by the power of gods and such and powerful white men, he should have been up for a Best Supporting Emmy, or he should be up for a Best Supporting Emmy in the future. The diversion from the books when the apparently the suicide attempt, the fake suicide, is from the books, and it's from Red Dragon, the Brett Ratner one. That one that was happening. I geeked out a bit. I was like, oh hey, it's just like The Thing. And then after that, when it just takes this crazy left-right turn and then just destroys the road entirely, and Will and Hannibal have to team up to fight the Red Dragon, it's just the best sort of a buddy cop thing. It's every the thing about Hannibal is it dives into these familiar tropes, but then turns them on their heads, and then blows up the head. You know, it's
Yes.
more than just the hero having to team up with the villain. It's these basically ex-lovers having to work
Mm-hmm.
together to stop a monster trying to kill both of them. And he becomes a literal monster in the finale with, or as they
Mm-hmm.
perceive him as such when they finally see him become the Red Dragon. And it's just,
Yeah.
man, the only thing that could have made that better for me was if Hannibal turned into the stag and he fought as
Yes.
the Red Dragon. Like that would have just been the
Mm-hmm.
most geeky thing ever for me.
That would be pretty great, you know, kind of the show's own iconography playing with the rest of the iconography.
Mhm.
That would have been pretty cool. I'm sure somebody out there will edit something to that effect because I feel like that'd be pretty dope. That'd be
God, I
pretty
wish I was talented enough to do that.
dope. Yeah, but I am so in love with the direction that this took to the point where like I am of two minds right now. One mind is like, I need more of this because that was so brilliant, because it was so wonderful and transcendent and beautiful, and I just want more. And then I am of the other mind that's like, that was so satisfying. And that yeah, it's like I don't know how I feel. I will not complain either way. Of course, I'm sad that this is over because I want to be actively, consciously looking forward to something that I know is coming in the future. But I think that there was something that was so incredibly poetic and operatic about this ending that it was, I mean, just the ultimate. Like when the curtain closes, I was standing ovation, baby, all by myself in my room, crying my eyes out, just like that happened. That happened. This is how it went down. It was just so like so intimate too. Um, just it like for as terrifying as Hannibal has been, like we see after he and Will have finally taken the dragon down and they're all just like bathed in the black blood and then just kind of like clinging on to each other. You're just like, oh my goodness.
When that
This
was
is
happening,
happening.
I was losing my mind for. All right, let's just talk about the crazy finale. So Alana and Margot are
Mhm.
on the run because they're like, Hannibal's free. He probably made Will crazy again. Book it because
Yep, we're done.
one's bad enough. Now he's got Will again. No, 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 no.
Dang
And then
it.
Jack Crawford. I don't know if he actually cares about Will that much anymore, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
he does, but at the same time, he's like, maybe I'll just take care of all of them, just wipe them all out because I don't
Hmm.
need to kill. I think it was the Europe arc where he said, I don't
Yeah.
need to kill Hannibal. Will needs to stop Hannibal or something of that
Hmm.
extent. And by putting those three beings together in an attempt to kill each one of them through Will, I think that he knew it wasn't going to end well, but I think he
Hmm.
wanted it to end as terribly as possible for all three of them. And I have
Yeah.
no like real evidence beyond just the events of the episode, but I don't think
Hmm.
he was concerned for Will. Is my whole thing, and I don't know if we'll ever see the fallout of that. But for sure, I think he lost his
Yeah.
job because a bunch of FBI agents and police officers are dead, and
Hmm.
you have two confirmed serial killers and another potential one out in the world. So it's just a whole mess. But at the
Whoops.
secret estate with Hannibal and Will,
Hmm.
I love the moment when Hannibal gets shot because, as always, the show films it so gloriously and it's just
Yep.
beautiful to behold. But then when Hannibal's bleeding out on the floor and then Will's up there still drinking the glass, he's like,
Sipping
"Yeah,
wine.
yeah." He's like, "Not so fun, is it?" Mm-mm. Nope. Yeah,
Been there.
yeah. Been there,
Taste
done
your
that.
own medicine, baby.
And just like in the book and a version of the movie,
Hmm.
Will also gets stabbed in the fucking face by the Red
Yup.
Dragon. Uh,
Yup. The
I
rude
forgot that
Vegeta.
happened. So when that actually happened in the show, I was like, oh, that's Jesus. They went through with it. It's brutal. It's just brutal. And they're
Hmm.
covered in blood. And the fight, it's almost like a ballet. It's not really a fight. It's like a ballet.
Oh yeah,
Violence and gore
totally.
and blood just spurting out in every direction from every possible orifice. It seems like,
Hmm.
and then the killing blow from Will is cool. The
Yeah.
killing blow from Hannibal is disgusting and perfect for that character. His last little
Yep.
piece of human flesh before the season finale ends,
Hmm.
and the red dragon, when Dollarhide dies and the blood starts pouring out around him,
Yep.
how it
Like the
shapes the red
wings.
dragon. Oh, so good, so good. Uh, and then yeah, that final moment with the two men on the edge of the cliff, and Hannibal tells him like, "Oh, like this is all I ever wanted for you." And there's this that shot is so great. That is like
Uh-huh.
instant wallpaper material. Just them against like, it's not quite dawn yet, and it's
Hmm.
too cloudy to be sunny, but like there's just like a little bit of light, and it just looks so beautiful. And
Yeah.
then Will Graham naturally says it's so beautiful, and I was like, hey, we're on the same train of thought. I thought Hannibal was gonna kill him, like toss him
Me
over the edge.
too. Me too. I was so convinced because I was waiting for it the way that like they were sort of making eye contact, not making eye contact, and just sort of like shaking and heaving, and they're like bleeding everywhere, and like just with the way that you could tell that Will was going to put his head on his shoulder, which reminded me so much of the season 2 finale, of course, where they come in for that embrace, and yet there's no killing blow from Hannibal this time. He's just
Nope.
kind of letting them revel in that moment, and you know that he knows that Will is going to do something, but he just I don't know. There's a lot of controversy actually for some reason about that last scene where people are like, Hannibal wouldn't let Will like make them commit suicide, and like I don't know why people like I didn't have a problem with the way that went down because I knew that somebody was gonna push,
Yeah,
um
just
and it
uh,
made sense that Will did.
yes, it so did, because he doesn't. Maybe he does care for Hannibal still, but
Mm-hmm.
he cannot let himself fall back into that world. And I think he knew that that life he made with Molly and his son
Yeah.
was it could never be safe with Hannibal around, and I don't know if it'd ever be the same if he went
Yeah.
home. So that
Mm-hmm.
him making that final attempt to just end it all by ending Hannibal,
Yeah.
that is a perfect television moment. I'll say it.
It
That
was.
was mind-blowingly good. This is a fantastic finale to a fantastic, immaculate television series. Um, God, like, oh yeah, of
It's
course. And then the post-credit scene with
oh yeah,
Bedelia.
that one.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Uh, uh, my theory immediately after watching it was she was waiting for her two potential serial killer lovers in Hannibal and Will,
Hmm.
and offered up her leg to them to make like this weird little family of serial killers like they
Right.
had with Abigail.
Hmm.
And then just she's gonna be waiting there for eternity, basically. Like that's how I read it. Like she's waiting for people who are never gonna come, and now
Yep.
she's stuck alone in the world, which I think
Hmm.
would have been a fitting ending too. But apparently, Brian Fuller said you could read it in a different way, or
Right.
the intent for season 4 was who served
Hmm.
her leg and why did she hide that steak knife underneath
Yeah,
the
like she was
napkin.
gonna stab whoever walked into the room.
Mhm. So yes, this would work fine as a series finale. This would work perfectly as a series finale, actually.
Yeah.
But given those statements and the discussions of the Silence of the Lambs incarnation in the series,
Mhm.
I need more, like now.
Yeah. And there's like you said from every interview that I've read, there's such promise for something that could come from this. And what I forget where I happened to read this, but Brian was doing an interview with some guy and said that now he's working on Stars, of course, with Neil Gaiman's American Gods, um, and so he is hoping that maybe he can get Stars to support something for Hannibal down the line, like a mini series. which would be very interesting because it sounds like he's wanting to take a very similar approach to his new show as he did with Hannibal. And that clearly he'd even talked about the possibility of Hannibal pursuing Alana down the line, or like, you know, just going and tormenting everyone endlessly until his dying days. But yeah, this episode works in whatever direction you want it to, whatever direction you could possibly imagine or hope, you know. And also it was wonderful having that Susie Sue song at the very end too. What was that called?
The song is literally called Love Crime. It's the
Love
most glorious
Crime.
homosexual act I've ever seen on television. It's fantastic.
Yes. Oh, it was so I think what I love most about the finale was just the the fearlessness and just the clearness of everything, for all the surreal times where we have not been able to fully figure out what's going on. There's all this artistry and all this craziness, but for those of us who have been in this journey for the long haul, it feels like a really marvelous payoff. And pays such a great homage to its two leading characters. And I love the fact that it's a show called Hannibal, but that's not just what it's about. There's a lot of things that kind of culminate and come together in Hannibal, but it's what he is to everyone else, and to someone like Will, whose soul responded so fully to this other man, to this violent force. And like, I love it. I love the way this show does its relationships.
It's so
Probably my
romantic, but
favorite
it's so
part.
disgusting. And yes, it's the best part, I think, as well.
Mhm.
It's there are relationships in the show that I've never seen, at least in the same vein of and in the history of television. Not quite sure we'll see it anytime soon. Maybe down like
Mhm.
years and years, maybe decades, until we see something as ballsy
Yeah.
and ridiculous as the way this show evolves its characters and relationships. Like, look at Alana Bloom, a character I really enjoyed the first two seasons, becomes
Mhm.
like almost a Bond.
Yeah. Oh, it's frozen. No. Oh.
Whoops, that was an accident.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, I'll just fix it out. Hang
Sorry
on, I'm just
about
gonna
it.
start off with Alana Bloom really quick then.
Yes,
And
go
then,
for it.
is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap up on this?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. I could talk all day.
Okay, I'll just kick off with Alana Bloom then.
All right.
I mean, just like look at Alana Bloom, who like a character I really enjoyed in the first and second season, and then the first half of season 3 is pretty much a Bond villain, and then the second
Mhm.
half is like something else entirely. Like this, and first of all, she also pulls off fitted suits like a boss. Like Jesus
No
Christ,
joke.
I wish I could pull off suits that well. I'm jealous. I am furious. I'm seething with jealousy. But she turns into a full on powerhouse of a character, and not to say
Mhm.
she was weak before, but like her new incarnation is just so evolutionary. Everyone in this show goes through their own becoming over the course of the
Yeah.
series, and that ties in with the Red Dragon roots. And now I think
Mhm.
that's why this season 3 in particular is so. It feels like a perfect culmination of everything that's come before. Uh,
Yeah.
it's it is the story that is technically Hannibal's first two seasons are prequels of, but really it was never really a prequel. It was always telling its own version of the story, and it is a very beautiful story, a very gory story, and a very tragic
Mhm.
story, and a story that should be watched for generations to come when you want to know how to do horror on television. Because I'm not a big horror guy. I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is cheap and just not worth my time or anybody's for that matter. Hannibal spits in my face and's like, "No, you watch me," and I'm like, "Okay."
I agree. I would never have considered myself a horror fan in any capacity really prior to this show. Um because it truly is horrifying, but it balances that horror with this marvelous beauty that doesn't make sense and that we want to resist, but just pervades everything. We get to be inside the minds of these different characters. Even, there's a few glimpses of the Mind Palace in this
Mhm.
episode too. Will was, or not Will. Hannibal was wearing a pretty dang spiffy suit in that like that cathedral that they were in. Like there's so many different layers in which to experience the show, so many different ways in which to enjoy it. Like every piece of what we see, of what we hear, of what meets our senses is like kind of telling its own story, and it all blends into the core themes. And there's just just this fusion. Like everything fits, everything collides in such a perfect way. And it's so difficult to find anything like that on television, and almost makes me sad because I don't know where to find that now. I feel lost.
We should just stop TV. We've
It's
peaked. There's
done.
nothing
It's
else. Yeah.
done.
I
It's
I
over.
mean, I love Veronica Mars, and I'm not done with season 2 yet, but that's awesome. I don't need to
No.
watch it anymore. You know why? Because I know it's not going to be as good as Hannibal. Like, there's just no way. There's no point. I'm quitting TV Hangouts. It's over. No, it's not over. But I guess we should just wrap up then, and then
Yes.
uh, Emily will not be here for a few weeks, so it'll be over for her for a little bit, and then she'll come back.
Just a little
And
bit. I'm
so,
just going to Italy, just like Hannibal.
yeah, you have your
Like I
own
have my
Italy
own
arc.
adventures.
Yeah, don't try not to eat anybody. Just
I'll try real hard.
yeah.
No promises. No promises.
Nope, I didn't hear anything. I didn't say anything. Definitely won't be saying anything. So on that note, yeah, Hannibal season finale, possible series finale. It's fantastic. It is beautiful. It's poignant. It is heartbreaking in all the right ways that we love the show. And we'll be doing a series recap down the line, and we might go back and revisit some of the older Hannibal episodes because Lord knows we need more of this show in our lives in some way or another.
Yes.
Emily, where can the people find you?
You can find me on M Mighty Sophia, EM the word mighty SOFIA. That is my YouTube channel. It is also my Facebook and my Twitter. I will, of course, not really be using those things in the next couple weeks as I'm in Italy, but I'll be getting back to that for fall television stuff. Lots going to be happening. So,
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be organizing some more stuff. Fear the Walking Dead. Lots happening in the fall. So you can find me at Dago Waffles on Twitter, at audienceseverywhere.net, where I write up most of my writings. Lots of summer recap stuff this week. A really great summer recap post. I won't spoil it, but it's one of the funniest things I've ever done. The staff has ever done, actually. And Waffle Press. Check out everything else we got going on here. I am a full-time host at Real Film Chatter now. Everyone check that out. We're doing TV. Maybe we can get Emily in on that too, because we need more TV people. And,
oh yeah, you got me.
all right, and then yeah. So check out everything. Links down below in the doobie-doo. We have been the Waffle Press podcast. That has been M. Mighty Sophia, and that was Hannibal. We have been professionally unprofessional.